Jessica Opare sat in her New York apartment one cool autumn evening. The city's lights sparkled across the skyline, but her focus was on her journal. She had just returned from delivering a powerful motivational talk at Columbia University, where hundreds of students and professionals had gathered to hear her speak on communication and personal growth. The audience had asked her thought-provoking questions, but one in particular had stayed with her. Why do so many people fail to connect deeply with others, even when they are physically present? She smiled as she thought of the perfect way to answer this, by sharing a metaphor that could change lives. The next day, Jessica traveled to Chicago for another seminar. She spoke to a group of young professionals in a large conference hall. "We live in a world where many of us try to handle life with quick shortcuts," she said, pacing gently across the stage. "We use our fingers to scroll, to swipe, to type. But too often, we use those same fingers as our only form of communication. Texting instead of talking, tapping instead of listening, pointing instead of truly expressing. That's why my message today is simple. Stop using your fingers. Start using your words, your heart, your presence." The crowd was silent at first, taking in the metaphor. Jessica leaned forward, her voice softening. When you're in a relationship, whether it's with a partner, a friend, or even a colleague, don't rely on quick, surface-level communication. A thumbs-up emoji will never replace a warm hug. A short text can never carry the same weight as an honest, face-to-face conversation. Stop using your fingers because they can only go so far. Your voice, your eyes, your sincerity, those connect deeper. In Los Angeles a week later, Jessica met Emma and Daniel, a young married couple who had attended her seminar. They had been struggling in their relationship. Daniel confessed, "I always text Emma when I'm busy, even if she's sitting right in front of me. I thought it was convenient." Emma nodded. "I felt like he was close physically but far away emotionally. It hurt." Jessica encouraged them to try an experiment. Put the phones down during meals, stop hiding behind short messages, and instead share their thoughts out loud. The change was small but powerful. Within days, Emma felt more connected, Daniel began opening up more, and their laughter returned to the dinner table. They told Jessica later, "Your advice to stop using our fingers was the best thing we could have heard." Jessica continued her tour across American cities, weaving this message into every talk she gave. In Houston, she told an audience of entrepreneurs that typing quick responses to employees without meaningful feedback was a recipe for burnout. "Your team doesn't just need instructions," she explained. "They need encouragement, vision, and leadership. Stop tapping away at your keyboard as if that's enough. Speak to them. Connect with them." In Miami, she addressed young adults about friendships. "A friend in need doesn't just want a "you okay?" text. They want to hear your voice. They want to feel your presence. Don't let technology reduce your relationships to finger movements. Stop using your fingers, and start using your whole heart. Her words began trending on social media, ironically through the very platforms that relied on fingers to scroll. People across the country shared stories of how they were inspired to reconnect in more personal ways. A mother in San Francisco shared how she stopped texting her teenage daughter across the house and instead walked into her room to talk. A young man in Dallas decided to call his father every week instead of sending short texts. A couple in Seattle started evening walks, leaving their phones behind, simply talking about their day. Jessica knew her message was working. But she also reminded her audience that stopping the habit of finger communication wasn't about rejecting technology. "It's about balance," she said at a seminar in Boston. "Technology is powerful. But if you let it replace genuine communication, you'll lose the essence of human connection. Use your fingers to create opportunities, but never let them be the only bridge." Months later, Jessica was invited to Washington, D.C., to speak before a large gathering of educators and leaders. Standing at the podium, she closed her eyes for a moment, letting the silence sink in. "The greatest gift you can give someone is your presence," she said. "Don't let your fingers do all the work when your heart is capable of so much more. Stop scrolling when your child wants to talk to you. Stop typing when your partner needs your reassurance. Stop using your fingers as a shield. Use your soul instead." Her speech received a standing ovation. Reporters wrote articles titled, "Stop Using Your Fingers: The Movement That's Changing Relationships Across America." Soon, universities and organizations invited her globally to spread her message. Jessica never imagined that a simple phrase would resonate so deeply. But she knew why it worked, because it reminded people of something they already knew in their hearts. Real love, real friendship, real connection requires more than surface-level effort. It requires presence, vulnerability, and intention. That night, back in her New York apartment, Jessica wrote in her journal once more. The city lights shimmered as she penned these words. We touch our phones thousands of times a day. But the most important touches are the ones we give with our attention, our words, and our love. Stop using your fingers. Start using your soul. And so her message lived on, not just as a motivational phrase, but as a practical reminder that life is too short for shallow connections. Across America, people were learning that the deepest bonds are built not by scrolling, not by tapping, not by typing, but by showing up fully, heart and soul.